Did it get better?
No, not even close. And once they do it
for the title of the podcast, Josh, you're killing me here, dog.
From my experience, it just doesn't get better.
Okay, good. Thank you. Nailed it. Clip it.
So.
Whoa, welcome to May the Zoo Be With You, America's most One Piece We're Back to You TCG podcast. Welcome back, One Piece. I am, of course, joined by the man with all the data, all the numbers, all the facts, Josh.
The obviously most accurate person on this podcast. Let's go.
So far, so good.
Be toxic right away.
Comment section was rough last week for everybody.
Was it true? What they say about Josh?
Josh got roasted last week.
What happened?
We should have a bidding system for our viewers that they could bid us points. like what was that show? Not Around the Horn.
Yeah, Around the Horn for sport.
Around the Horn. Yeah, we should have a bidding system. Dude, we got to figure out how to do that.
And I am joined with the FOMO master himself. Might be the last chance you ever have to own this card. Louis DeGeorge.
Oh, we got a fun alert back. Let's go. And we're back with we're back. It's your turn.
Lou was about to talk.
It's your turn to get introed. And we're back with Fudmaster Flex George. All TCGs are dead. The TCG industry is tiny and not worth his time anymore, everybody.
Tiny and definitely not worth my time. Like Shohei Ohtani. His contract is basically what WotC will make this year.
That contract is insane.
Well, the deferment
hiring all of his staff, like WotC is.
Wait, that's the baseball player, right? That's what you're talking about. You know, it's deferred for 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So, like the baseball team's just gonna sell their contract. They're never gonna have to pay him.
Yep,
great. And it's also somebody
care as long as someone pays him. What does he care?
Somebody did the math and like adjusted for inflation. It's like not. It's still a lot, but it's not that crazy in 20 years.
80 million adjusted for inflation. Get on our level, Shohei Ohtani. Poor boy. What do you? I love how you're like, he's so poor. He probably can't even afford to buy half of WotC.
Anyway, all right.
If things go the way they're going, might soon be for sale.
All right, we're gonna start a baseball podcast. We're gonna start we've got a conspiracy theory podcast in the work. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good stuff. All right, everyone. Here's the topics for this week. We're gonna do
Be Brave challenge.
We're gonna do that in a second. We're gonna do Magic the Gathering crypto. Don't click away, everyone. This is not an NFT. It's not an NFT. There is some scamming going on. We're gonna talk about the Magic. What is it? $50 million?
I think it was 10, wasn't it?
Same thing. $10 million being purchased in vintage Magic. This matters. We're going to talk about Cox Blocks Christmas and the firings.
This matters. Of course it matters. We're talking about it, Louis.
We're going to talk about Sorcery Beta. We're going to talk about George's One Piece. We're going to talk about Lorcana sales, and then we're going to do our monthly MetaZoo Minute, which we haven't done in 3 months, but we have
I've been traveling.
It's our quarterly MetaZoo Minute.
An epic battle between MetaZoo and TCG Player happening right now, which is...
That's true. I like that.
So, all right. George has a interlude here, though. A more important interlude.
So we got 2 big ALS things going on. Louis is going to link to the Watch podcast below. Where you can buy a Tudor watch where all the profits go to ALS, and I talk about it.
Go to ALS Research.
All the profits go to ALS Research. I will warn, they asked me to do the podcast. They did not. I have a question for you guys. You guys are both, well, Josh, you're a content creator. If somebody says, will you come on a podcast, do you think it'll be like televised, like video, or do you think it'll just be audio?
I think video, but I think that's wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong. I noticed this whenever I did I had people come on the channel, like they didn't anticipate having video for some reason.
So we're like, come on down. We have a studio. Like we have microphones and stuff. I'm like, great. I'll go down to the microphone. It was filmed. I listen. Don't judge me by my looks.
Did you wear your Hawaiian shirts? Were they in?
Easy. That's no problem. I actually wore this Hawaiian shirt.
Were they in?
I would have worn socks with my Crocs along with my gray sweatpants, but I did not.
It's Louis Vuitton all over again.
Yeah, they could have pretty womaned me.
Yeah.
God,
You know, you're supposed to be Pretty Woman then. But all right,
most humiliating moment of my life.
the more important side of this.
Yeah. Okay. And we're also, so that's going to be below. If you actually want a Tudor watch that goes to ALS, get in them DMs. Mainly Louis, because he'll forward them to me. Don't get my DMs.
Go to George directly.
Okay. Second thing.
His phone number's on the Medicine website still.
Is that true?
I know, but that was one of the best days of my life.
That was
Doxing you was one of the greatest moments of this YouTube channel.
that's where the title of the podcast came from.
Yeah.
That moment saved your channel. We're also gonna do the Go On Be Brave challenge. So, Louis, I know you've asked me 10 million times what the Go On Be Brave challenge is.
Yes.
So it's about Go On Be Brave, a great movie that you told me you saw, and that's great. So like it is a movie about my good friend Andrea. Like Louis, she is an athlete. Unlike Louis, he completed 50 marathons.
Wow.
After getting diagnosed with ALS.
That's crazy.
That's like completing 50 marathons is bananas. After ALS is wild. And she is an incredible movie. She's one of my closest friends. And her movie is showing in a bunch of Regal cinemas on January 17th. It's honestly the best ALS movie I've seen, and I've seen, I think, all of them. So if you want more information, go to goonbebrave.com, look where the nearest theater is, and do it. And we'll have a raffle. If you buy a ticket to the movie, send Louis your receipt, and we're going to draw a random winner, and Louis will give you a free One Piece box. All right. Love it. That's it. So go support ALS research. Let's end this disease. And, 'tis the season.
Good work, dude. You're always this is where George has been, by the way, everyone. When he's gone, he's doing real things like trying to solve world problems like ALS. So
And apparently having friends that I've never felt like humans like that are just incredible people. It makes me realize that I am just a number on this planet. Oh my gosh.
So I had dinner with her a couple of days ago, and it's like I mean this, she's one of my very close friends. And you're just like, the fact that you don't make me feel like absolute garbage every time I talk to you is a testament to how kind you are. Because, like, let's be clear, you'd be like, what did you do today? Oh, I completed a marathon with ALS.
Yeah.
I got dressed. I'm here, aren't I? Like,
made a
what do you say to
YouTube
that?
video about magic.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm on a dead podcast talking about Louis 15th TCG this month.
Yeah, holy cow, man.
Do you know about One Piece?
we will leave the links to that in the comment section below.
Have you heard of Alestrals? It's next.
Hey, you're welcome for giving you a platform to talk about this on.
You doxed me.
I did dox you, George. It's so funny. All right, let's get right into it. George, you have a magic crypto thing. This is wild. All right, so again, people get all upset about crypto. I get it, whatever. But there is a guy on Twitter that you explain the story.
Go ahead. You're doing great.
I'm gonna butcher it. You're
doing great so far. Keep going. I got you.
Okay, have you seen Ozark? That with crypto and magic. Got there.
There's a guy on Twitter who's been trailing. This has 2 million views, by the way, on Twitter. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because people care about crypto and not TCGs. Continue.
There was a tornado cache. What is that? Tell us what the tornado
That is
cache
a way for you to hide the source of crypto. So it basically means it's not completely untraceable, but mostly untraceable. Like, it comes to you. You don't know where it came from. It's magic.
Gotcha.
Not the gathering, real magic.
He has withdrawn $25 million. And now, was this stolen? Is that you told me?
It was from a hack.
Yep.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Good job. I don't get sued by this guy.
Allegedly, Zach XBT has been monitoring someone who withdrew $25 million.
And Zach XBT is like the best crypto sleuth in the world.
Okay.
Shout out to Zach. Big fan of the podcast.
And he has, not Zach, but the person he's been following.
Zach is not a crook.
Has spent the majority of the money on Magic the Gathering cards. And he tracked exactly where all this money went.
Can I see how much I love crypto people?
So let's skip I don't think we need to get into the how he tracked it, right?
No.
What we care about is what he spent the money on. Is that what we care?
Yeah. So I have two things. Okay. First, we have seen that the magic market has not taken the huge downslide of every other TCG market in the world. Do we think that's actually kind of helped the market?
I do not. I do not think that's. I do not think that's true.
Is this Magic
Are
Robin?
you kidding me? Like, compare an Alpha Lotus price to a first edition Charizard price, and it's declined the last year. Are you kidding me right now?
Well, there's far less Alpha Lotuses than there are.
So one's held their value way better than the other.
Yeah, but there's also far less of them. So like the market doesn't move on an Alpha Lotus.
That was also true before COVID. It's not like they just printed more.
Yeah,
First
but I think the
Charizard.
Charizard saw a higher pump because of notable personalities getting into the Pokemon space.
Pump and dumps.
Yeah,
It also like sees
Friend
a
of the
lot
podcast,
more.
Bill.
You have a lot more Pokemon. Like Charizard First Edition sells a lot more times. Why are you always pitting these two games? Like, why are you always pitting things against each other? Why can't we just analyze the thing for what it is?
This is why when you're gone doing
Terrible
real world
content.
mission stuff, Louis and I get along so well.
Yeah, because that's terrible content. People want brawls.
So your hypothesis here is that $25 million has been propping up the Magic market.
That's a big number if you're talking about like a very small amount of stuff.
Hold on, Boo Boo. As much as I think George is being a little crazy here, if in fact $25 million was injected into the vintage Magic market, it wouldn't do nothing, right? Like,
It's not a huge
No,
market.
it would do a lot of stuff.
it wouldn't do nothing, right? It would prop things up probably above where they would have normally.
So I had this conversation with George on the phone today, and here was my
You
hypothesis.
also stole my take on your sorcery video today, I noticed, based on the title, but continue.
You do. The title means nothing. The title means nothing. Let's be honest. It's all clickbait.
Don't say your takes to him, dude.
He also has
I know
been.
this.
He has also been overpaying. So here's the question George and I were debating.
Yeah.
Let's say $25 million man. Does he actually want to hold the Magic the Gathering
Call
cards?
Pogan lol.
Because if he spends $25 million on Magic the Gathering and it's just a way for him to turn stolen crypto into
Cash.
real cash, he doesn't actually care about the Magic cards or the value of them, right? He just buys, let's use an easier number for Louis to digest, that he buys a $1 million card, the market sees it as $1 million sale, and then he turns around and sells it for $650,000, and like the market's down 45%.
That's the cost of money
I was right
laundering.
the first time.
Need
Huh?
the market update.
The market's down 35%, but realistically, like the true price was that he just didn't care about he's just trying to get free cash. It's still free money for him at the end of the day.
But there's no indication that he's selling. At least none that we have none that we have seen yet.
Which would be wild if
I mean, like, I think it's a way that like he has a bunch of like allegedly ill-gotten gains, and like it's a way to like store wealth. Is like like find me a better collectible than Magic for storing wealth. Like you do like high-end watches, I guess, like high-end art, but like that's like trackable. Like there's like there's like that's.
There's certainly better collectibles than cards right now. I mean, we're seeing that.
Like,
but
I mean, like,
like,
what are they?
it's Magic is also more
Magic is
well known,
stable.
I would argue, as far as
Magic is
high-end collectibles. Everybody knows what Magic is. You go to the cocktail party, everyone's going to be able to tell you what Magic the Gathering is. So maybe it's a place, if you don't know much about storing wealth in collectibles, it's the first place you turn.
yeah.
But this person who stole it has got to have some other stuff going on. If I had $25 million suddenly come to me, and I bought $25 million worth of pumped Magic, so roughly $19 million worth of actual Magic. You know how hard it would be not to sell it and just have $16 million? Like,
Yeah, and also like I don't know.
If you sell it, you're gonna get caught.
I disagree with your take on that. The Magic market is currently not decreasing. Like
I did not say that.
That's not what he said.
That's not what I said at all.
Putting it up higher than it otherwise would have been.
you couldn't.
Not what I said at all.
Like, man, it's hard to compare because you're using the first edition Charizard. You're using a PSA.
Lugia?
You're also using like a PSA 10 first edition Charizard for your price.
That's high end.
Yeah, but like high end for Magic, like an unlimited Lotus is also
That is
like,
not considered high end Magic.
I mean, maybe
That's my goal. Don't be
that's
mean.
like high end.
If you're spending $25 million on
Sure.
unlimited Lotuses, find God.
You just own the market. You just own
Yeah,
the space.
like you own them. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You are not spending $25 million on
Does it say
unlimited
what
Lotuses.
he bought?
No,
I don't think he followed it.
it was boxes and singles. They said.
That's really interesting.
Well, it's also like you can't sell because they will get caught. I think.
Well, he could have somebody else sell it for him.
I suspect, like, if you sell $20 million of Magic, it's going to be a little sus.
Yeah.
It would be
Here's my
something
big
that's
thing.
it would be something that's easier to be like, yeah, I've played Magic my whole life. I've had these since I was a kid. So when someone comes asking like, where are you getting all this money? I've just had my Magic card since I was a kid. I finally decided to let him go.
Here's my other question, though. How dare he? How dare he? He
What
could have
should-
saved any of our bags,
He could have.
and instead, he pumps the game, the one that's doing the best of all of them. Cryptic not good enough for you, my guy? You don't want to buy some Cryptic?
I've got some stuff on the
You
shelf
want
I
some
could
Genesis?
sell him.
You want some Genesis?
Could have bought the company 30 times.
Could have bought all the companies. You could have bought every indie TCG.
There are things on the shelf I would be happy to sell at MSRP if he's
Yeah.
willing to reach out.
Yeah.
He's willing.
Instead, he buys Lotuses. Oh, the bravery. Oh, the bravery. No wonder you sold the funds, coward.
I wanted to call him
Allegedly.
Robin Hood, the Robin Hood of Magic the Gathering, but I don't really know if that's accurate anymore.
He sells Lotuses and buys Cryptic boxes to like show mercy on this podcast.
He's been watching.
He's like, I'll overpay by 10%. May this be with you. $30 a box.
He just made. You know what? I think he should just mail us all Lotuses at this point.
Sounds like he can.
I was like, I think there's two things. All jokes aside, I think this actually affected the Magic market.
Can I ask you a really dumb question? Why
Probably.
move it out of crypto?
What?
Like
Well,
if
I think like the problem is
traceable to him on crypto, right? Well, that's
Because
Say it again?
the tornado thing means it's not traceable to him on crypto, right?
not. It's very difficult. I believe it still
It's very
can
difficult.
be. I believe it still can be traced to him,
There's
even
nothing
through
about
that mechanism.
Because that almost signifies that he's looking to get cash out of it at some point, and that's why he would move it.
I don't think so. I think it is much more a sign that he is looking for a store of wealth.
Interesting.
I think he's just looking to hide a bunch of sudden financial improvement, sudden financial gains. Like that. If the whole story is true, right? If we're accepting the whole story as truth, you can't hold it in crypto. You can't turn around and get cash out of it right now. You can't put it in a wallet and unplug it somewhere and hope for the best, because you're going to risk losing this or a flood or something over 20 million. If it's in Louis' basement, that wallet's destroyed next week. Like, it's underwater. It's Pirates of the Caribbean down there. You got to do something with it. Magic makes sense. I think he wants his cash.
Millions on starter decks, alpha sets, and sealed boxes.
Yeah, like alpha sets. That's wild.
Dude, all right. I wanna know what he bought. Like, I'm gonna start
How
watching.
many Streets of New I know he's a believer.
He's got
How many?
got to be vintage.
How many
sealed.
streets?
Which is
How
wild.
many unlimited Lotuses does he have, though?
It's wild because vintage sealed Magic has been like decreasing. It has not been going up. Like it. I don't know about like beta boxes. Like that's the thing. Is like what kind of vintage?
Is there
it?
even beta boxes anymore?
Yeah.
Rarely.
They opened one at Collecticon last year.
Oh, they opened one last year.
I don't. Are you sure about that? That was
Yeah,
a beta box?
I was.
Oh, you're right. It was a
literally
beta
there.
box. You're right. It
I
was.
was literally there.
I was
watched
there
it
with
happen.
you, donkey. Relax.
Yeah, one of us remembers.
It was
Thanks for
also
inviting me,
2
guys.
years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't last year.
Yeah,
It was 2 years ago, and we had a huge Denny's meal. Shout out to Ice Nine.
And my first edition Charizard I got then was worth
lot more.
$5,000. It's more than it's worth now.
This is crazy. This
They
is
could have saved the
crazy.
Pokemon market. This guy really did us dirty.
They did meet in real life with the buyer, so it's interesting. Somebody knows who this guy is.
Somebody knows who he is.
Hey, Louis, this is what bugs me, Louis. I can't believe you're not more into this.
Yeah.
This is the crossover of the conspiracy theory podcast and the trading card game podcast. I thought you were going to hit us with 14 different
and the crypto
theories.
podcast.
Yeah, I thought you were going to hit us with all the theories this week, and you're giving me nothing, dude. You're just complaining
There's
about
not
Charizard prices.
It's offending Charizard again.
There's not enough details. Like, I want to be able to track the
All right,
sales.
You want to interview? Okay, all right. I agree with Louis. Whoever this dude is, you're invited onto the podcast next week.
So after,
Oh, we'll block out his face.
Yeah,
be so
the too, the voice changer.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Batman. I own Alpha Lotuses.
I'm all in.
When the Y-Files does a video about this, Louis will be all in, baby.
When it's Rudy the whole time.
It's not stolen crypto. It's just from selling sorcery bundles.
So Rudy's gonna message us and be like, "Hey, so this guy tried to sell me a bunch of alpha sets and sealed product."
I'll bet he did. Rudy, put in the comment section. Did this guy reach out to you for advice? I wonder.
He had to. There's nobody else he could sell it to. Like, I don't know. I guess other people.
But you're assuming he's selling. I don't think he's selling.
He is eventually.
He's got to sell it at some point. What's the point in doing it all if you're not going to sell it?
I mean, like, you could sell it eventually, but it could be 20 years from now.
Yeah, it's definitely smarter to not sell it right away.
Yeah, I don't think it could be like eBay. First, eBay auction started at a penny. $20 million of Alpha Lotuses coming out this week.
Same day the questionable 25 mil in crypto moves.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the same eBay seller exactly 25 mil of cards.
So, all right,
Friends and family only. I heard it can't be traced.
So, what does this do? What does this do to a market when you have $25 million worth of fake money enter a market?
It props it up, which is what I've been trying to tell you.
Magic, it affects it a bit.
Yeah.
Indie TCGs, it takes it to the stratosphere. We saw this. We saw this in the pandemic.
You could probably buy most indie TCG companies for that.
You can buy every
easy.
single indie TCG
Easy.
company.
What are you talking about? What indie TCG company can't you buy with $25 million?
Every first edition Lorcana box. Every one.
That doesn't
None of them can hit TCG player.
It doesn't.
Do you want sticky box or no sticky box?
Definitely sticky box. Sticky box is the best box.
Look, it's Scotch tape. It's better.
Okay, so if you are an owner of an alpha set or the sealed product, hypothetically, that you think he has, this is the time to sell right now. You're like,
Absolutely.
some guy just came in, and you got to sell it before he tinks it.
God.
So wait, is that the move now?
That's the move.
The move
right
is
now.
to hold and wait for this guy to ruin everything and then scoop it
I
up.
suspect like he's probably done buying now that this article came out.
Yeah,
suspect
I mean, I don't
Until first edition Charizard start to go to the moon. Then now
I'm in.
He can finally save. He's the Logan Paul we always needed.
Every time a trading card game high-end asset goes up in price, in the back of my mind, it's going to be this guy now.
Hold on.
It's going to be just this guy.
Make sure this guy knows if he's listening. My website does accept crypto. So you can go to my website and use crypto.
And that's a perfect crossover, 'cause there's tons of
GameGrove.gg/scam.
there's tons of cryptic on that website, so it's perfect.
Yes.
No, there's no. I'm out. That's not true.
I'm out.
It does. What would the liability be like that on crypto, on stolen crypto? Is that like if somebody uses stolen crypto to buy something, do I owe the stolen
I
crypto
wouldn't want to
back?
figure it out. I wouldn't want to know.
Yeah, I don't know how does that work if somebody robs a bank and then you're a merchant and you
I think
get
you're
paid.
it's stolen, I think, but I don't know.
Because like if somebody sells me stolen cards,
You're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. Like I have
Yeah.
to take IDs and stuff of people who sell me cards.
Are you really?
Yeah, over a certain value. Like under.
Like, I have three
when
vault
somebody-
cards.
when somebody walks in on like a Collecticon weekend and they're like, "Oh, I was on my way home from Collecticon," and
Like,
they have
no, you weren't. You're the crypto scammer.
Tell it to me. Tell it to me in terms I understand. How many borderless Ragavan do I have to sell you for you to take my ID?
it's like usually over like $500. I take an ID, and it's
A pretty low amount to be taking ID.
I was going to say the exact opposite.
Most trade-ins are $50. I mean
that means he's right on, George. If we're both,
yeah.
Nailed it, Louis. I'm proud of you, buddy.
All right, that's the wildest topic we've ever had.
Yeah, I don't.
Did you take my title at least? My title was great on this one.
I
did
did MTG crypto. Was that your idea?
Magic the Laundering. Magic the Laundering.
Hold on, I'll switch it. Hold on, I'll change it.
This is just an episode of Ozark with Magic the Gathering. 100%.
That's a great title.
Ozark was such a good show.
Yeah, it was.
All right, Magic. It is now Magic the Laundering. Perfect time for us
Title.
to transition into Cox Blocks Christmas.
Buddy.
He loves it so. I love
Can I
how
say
much.
it
you
one more
love this.
time? Can I say it one more time?
Yeah.
Cox Blocks Christmas. Oh man. Oh, good stuff.
Don't ever say we weren't here for you.
All right. So
He has no idea where to go from that because he was so enthralled with the title.
yeah. All right. So 1,000 people got laid off at Hasbro. 1,100 people, which is 20% of the Hasbro workforce. This is off the bat of them laying off 800 people earlier this year. So this year in 2023, they have laid off 29% of their employees.
It's like Elon Musk up in this piece.
And in addition, they have been celebrating the record sales year for Magic the Gathering, hitting $1 billion. So that's great.
This is where I think people. Okay, two things. The market seemed to like the firings, but like more importantly than that,
The market
this
always likes firings. It's
Yeah,
like,
it really does in my experience.
the CEO is willing to do whatever it needs to do to run the company. But like he has to look up on Wikipedia what the company sells.
That was
what? Okay,
Cynthia, I think.
Yeah, it was something. They're the same person.
Oh.
so this is like I think like this goes to the AltaFox thing again though, right? Like
Yeah.
they're not WotC people, they're Hasbro people.
Yep. There were some WotC employees.
I believe most of
caught
it
up in
they
the fire.
mainly because of the toy line.
Yes, the vast majority were
of the
WotC
toy line, I believe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Or we're Hasbro people, sorry. Yeah.
What?
the media.
Well, they sold E1, so I would assume that they all got
There's
adios.
a big chunk of it was in their. They had $493 million of loss in their entertainment section of the company.
Not good, Chris.
Yeah, that's not great.
So
Disney-like numbers.
how dare you? We got our divvy back. Big shout out to Bob Iger bringing back the divvy. You are the GOAT. Love divvy.
All right.
Thank you, Lorcana.
The
And,
normal Bob Iger plug. Let's move on.
Love Bob Iger. The GOAT.
Please stop plugging Bob Iger. On the
Love Bob
podcast.
Iger. Who doesn't like Bob Iger?
Elon Musk.
He'll love him once he gives him some more money.
Listen, it's Disney's fault that Twitter's dying.
Is that true?
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
I heard Louis was responsible for several card
Please.
games dying.
Can we please save
Disney
this?
is actively killing Twitter.
Please save this for the Conspiracy Theory podcast. It's so much better on the Conspiracy Theory podcast.
So like I mean like the problem is like Hasbro is on the struggle bus, but WotC is not. Like WotC is still going great. Everything else in Hasbro is on the struggle bus.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. Like the problem for Hasbro is the same problem that AltaFox highlighted 2 years ago.
George, you have a degree in mergers and acquisitions. Do you not?
That doesn't exist. I have a law degree that
Can you just say yes?
international corporate law, and I have a business degree in finance with an emphasis in corporate holdings, I believe.
And I want to point out that I'm the only person on this podcast without a degree, and I knew that wasn't a real thing.
I do not have a master's in mergers and acquisitions. No, but I understand.
You did something with mergers and acquisitions, right?
I studied it pretty. That was kind of what I did my thesis on.
Okay, same thing.
Got there.
It's all jargon that means nothing to me. So,
Love it.
Your high-end education means nothing to Louis on this podcast, George.
Nothing to anybody else either.
like a teacher at Harvard, right? Like that. Like, come on,
Professor. He is a professor, but not. But kind of.
So, at what point does Hasbro become like a target for a company to purchase? Because
that's what AltaFox tried.
they're really low in value, right? Like they've hemorrhaged money over the last 3 years. So what price point do they get to where like someone's like, hey, you know what I'm going to do is buy Hasbro because I can save this company with my background in my other company.
So I think you could tell me a story where there are a potential takeover target, but there's two big problems. The first problem is like interest rates. You're going to have to borrow money to do that most likely. And like interest rates are sky high. And so like to borrow that money or even to like not use the money you have is a pretty high cost, right? Your opportunity cost is pretty high right now with interest rates. So that's the biggest barrier, I think. The other problem is like, listen, Hasbro has real problems and they're still struggling to fix them. Like WotC, I think is doing really, really well still. Like we're going to get our end of the year numbers here in a little bit. I suspect WotC had another record-breaking year. I suspect their profit was sky high. I suspect their Magic set sold very well. I suspect they're going to shatter last year's record.
Yeah.
Everything else is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
That would make sense to me.
Like, I mean, they sold E1 for peanuts after they bought it for a fortune. They
did nothing with it. Like
they did nothing with it. They made a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Like they still have an like this is where I agreed with AltaFox the most. They've got to separate this company out because like they've got to either figure out can Hasbro minus WotC become a real company or can it not?
Well, so this is where, and I don't mean to speak for the lame people like me, but I talked to Louis about this today, and Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast. Mm-hmm. It's the one massively profitable thing that they have.
Yeah.
And you come to Hasbro and you're like, I'm buying Wizards of the Coast.
Right.
Why would they ever sell it?
I don't think Hasbro would ever sell it. You would have to buy all of Hasbro in order to get.
But then, if you bought all of Hasbro, why would you ever split Wizards of the Coast off?
Here's why you would separate them.
Right. Okay.
You would separate them first.
Okay.
What you can argue to me, and this was AltaFox's main argument, was that right now the whole company is being valued as a multiple. So a multiple of revenue or profits times the toy industry.
Sure.
So Wall Street's viewing it as a toy business, not a collectibles business, which is what they would value the multiple at if it was just WotC.
Which is a much smaller multiple, I'm assuming.
It would be a higher multiple.
Would it? Okay.
According to AltaFox, though, this is according to AltaFox. So,
and you can convince me that like this was like this, like the most famous example. This is it's not quite perfect, but like Blizzard, they were like, we're gonna do a bunch of microtransactions. Get ready, son. And like they were like, boom, we love you now. And like their multiple skyrocketed. Like I do believe that there is a pretty cogent business argument to separate out Hasbro from WotC.
Okay. And I
think the valuation would go up combined.
Let's go back to the firings too from a business perspective. Like right now at Hasbro at Wizards, you have all these people who don't know if they're getting fired again as a result of Hasbro. They're going to be working for the next 6 months wondering, am I losing my job? And am I going to lose my job next year when more firings come up? And so it hurts Wizards of the Coast too from moving forward. So I think separating them makes sense from a just like logistics of your employees standpoint too, when you're trapped within the Hasbro ecosystem.
I don't know what happened to AltaFox, but I think
it just disappeared. And Rudy stopped talking about it too. Like Rudy was harping on it for months. He was all over.
Wasn't he part of that group?
Yeah.
They completely stopped talking about it.
Chris Cox has a problem. This is not.
It's probably all those cocktails.
Yeah, and I don't know if he can solve them or not. I don't know him at all. I've never talked to him. He's not Bob Iger, the GOAT. But
we will have him on the podcast. I'd like to point out.
I'd love to have Cox. I'm dead serious. I'd have no problem having either Bob Iger or Chris Cox.
We should host a cocktail party and invite him to the podcast.
Can I pour my Michelob Ultra into a martini glass?
Yes, that would be the greatest May the Zoo Be With You episode of all time.
He has a real problem in that, what you're saying is right. The fear is going to bleed over to the good sectors.
Yeah, people got fired. People got fired today from Magic who have I don't remember his name, but he kind of looked at what he had done. He'd made some really good sets. He was really involved in a lot of the content creation and that kind of stuff too. And if you are a Wizards employee right now, you're not confident. You're not confident in your career and in your job. What's going to happen here is the good people at Wizards are going to start looking elsewhere for jobs.
So that's going to happen regardless now that they've done a voluntary reduction in force. In that email, they were like, hey, we asked a bunch of people if they wanted to leave, and I've been through one. And quickly, your best people who don't leave start to look elsewhere immediately. I know personally, I was like, no, I'm going to stick it out. And then 2 months later, I was looking for a new job.
Did it get better?
What?
Did it get better?
No, not even close. And once they do
a line for the title of the podcast, Josh, you're killing me here, dog.
From my experience, it just doesn't get better.
Okay, good. Thank you. Nailed it. Clip it.
So it's you're spot on with that, but that's from the employee perspective.
Yeah.
Louis, from the higher ups perspective, that number starts to change. Things start to balance out as far as the books go.
Clip it.
And they don't care.
I mean, I think that's
a good CEO does. A good company will, but if they were a good company, they likely wouldn't be in this situation in the first place.
Well, I don't know if that's fair. So that's where I don't know if it's fair.
It drives me nuts that, like, you said this at the start, like the market saw this as a good thing. So he'll probably get a raise. He'll probably get a bonus because of all this. Like, that's the...
I mean, in his defense, he inherited this problem. He did not create it.
I don't know enough about Hasbro's past to know if that's true.
He's not the one that created Barbie, I assure you. That's also not Hasbro, I don't think.
Did the Barbie movie do really well?
I think it's also not Hasbro. That's where I caught myself.
Nerf?
He didn't make Furbies.
Nerf?
It's Nerf, Transformers.
Also Furbies.
Also,
right?
I think we're slowly discovering that in the battle between Nerf or nothing, it's trending towards nothing.
Yeah, dude, Nerf is like... I don't know, man. There's this thing called Fortnite. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. What? And it turns out that shooting fake guns on a video game is more fun than Nerf.
That's false. That is false. If you get like 6 to 8 good friends together and you fire Nerf guns at each other, it's way more fun.
The problem is, like, you can't get 6 to 8 good friends together anymore. That doesn't happen.
Oh, God. Can we make this a digital magic conversation? Because that's just perfect.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's just perfect.
Monopoly. I mean, like, the problem is, like, what are these like?
The problem is a lot of their stuff's board games, which are like they put out the cheapest, crappiest stuff ever. Like, who wants to buy another?
That's not the problem. The problem is
another Monopoly right now. Why would you possibly buy a game of Monopoly right now?
Well, it's not because of the material Monopoly's made from. I can assure you.
I don't know, man. I would go and buy like a old copy of Monopoly. You know the best Monopoly is?
So the thing that's keeping you from playing Monopoly is the quality of the Monopoly board.
I mean, that's not keeping me from playing Monopoly. It's a terrible game. But like
because our entertainment has evolved over the past I don't know 3
that's
decades.
The issue. Is they have not evolved.
3 decades of evolving entertainment and everything at our fingertips. We don't want Settlers of Catan on the regular anymore. We should, but we don't.
And what you just said is the most important part. Like, I know it's like very popular, especially from certain YouTube content creators on this channel, to dunk on WotC any chance they can. Hi, Louie. But like, they have done a really good job of innovating over the last 5-10 years. New boxes, online gameplay. What do you want from them? I mean, name me another company that's done that.
In the TCG industry?
Yeah.
Like Pokemon's done a pretty good job of innovating and of doing.
What have they innovated?
They bought their own printers.
They bought their own printers.
Changed the game.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon as a whole has done like very cool things. They have different stuff on the Switch. They've innovated that. They've created ways for people to like.
That's not the TCG space, so I love it.
We're talking about
it's a whole company. This is the point. Wizards hasn't done anything in addition to the TCG to grow the brand of Magic. They buy a media company and they don't even make the Netflix show to grow the brand of Magic.
So WotC did not buy E1.
Hasbro did.
Yeah.
My point. The whole thing. The whole system.
WotC made an online game. They've changed the boxes several times. They've added new SKUs. They've had a ton of crossover IP. Like, I agree they could do more with their IP. I think that's totally a fair criticism of Magic. But Louis, they have a ton of crossover IPs now that have done exceptionally.
Hold on, we've had this conversation a million times. I want to get you guys on a different track. it does seem so. We have all these layoffs that we're talking about. We have
hold on. My point was that they've innovated and Hasbro hasn't.
sure.
Like I think Louis' strongest point is that
Compared to Hasbro, yes, Wizards has,
compared to like Louis, like they have certainly become the most innovative TCG company.
God, this is what I was trying to keep us away from.
I don't know. Like I will say they have innovated. They've been very innovative in gameplay. I will give you that. Like the new sets that come out, people are excited to play them, and like
Other than that, though, it's terrible.
I don't think
Other than wanting to play the game, crossover IP, new boxes, and online gameplay, they have struggled in innovation. I do agree with you.
Like
Louis.
what do you mean by online gameplay? Like Arena
Magic
is
Arena.
that is not innovative.
Who else is doing that?
Hold on. In Arena's
Pokemon?
constantly innovating, constantly creating new ways for people to play for less money, constantly having events that are bringing in, rehashing old Magic cards in ways we haven't seen. Yes, Arena is 100% innovating. Now, that doesn't make Arena the best thing ever. The Arena market is terrible. It actively steals money from its customers. It's an extremely impressive platform.
Arena is the lowest amount of effort that you could put into creating an online TCG on, like to play on the computer. Like you can't trade cards. You can't. There's no like. Why is it if World of Warcraft or whatever there's a game like World of Warcraft where you can sell your card. You can sell your. There's like a marketplace.
Those are economy decisions.
Yeah, they're decisions.
It is also innovation. That's also
not. You just named other games that are doing it. That's not innovation.
They're not even putting out like they don't even have the whole slew of cards on the game. You can't even play a game of Commander. They do the least amount of work possible to then.
So if you could do all those things, it would be a massively innovative platform.
Do what?
Because I can introduce you to Magic Online, where everything you just mentioned is possible, and more.
And more, a whole new world. Shout out to Bob Iger.
Like you have to also have like a UI that people want to play at, that's growable, that people are excited to look at and stream and to do all sorts of stuff. Like it has to be all.
So if we're to be innovative, it has to be perfect.
Okay.
No, but all right, continue. Go back to Josh's point.
So I mean, like clearly, Magic has done a ton of innovation over the last 5 years, other than Louis' FUD opinion.
I do. How do you like? We are
boxes, crossover IP, online gameplay. Those are the 3 big ones.
Okay, I'll give you crossover IP if you want. Like,
and new boxes. You're not gonna give me set boxes, collector boxes.
I'm not. No,
that's not innovative.
I guess it's changing things. I'm not calling it that.
That's innovating.
Like
it's changing things.
Kind of what that is. Things. That's kind of what that is.
Listen, all right.
I only use synonyms, but pretend they're antonyms. So but like Hasbro hasn't. Like they're now doing the small Furbies, and it's like, dude, it's done. It's done.
Yeah, Hasbro seems. I thought about this with the layoffs. Like, what do I interact with? Not because we have, with a kid now, you'd be like, what do we interact with that's Hasbro? And it feels like little to nothing. And it's like maybe there's a certain age range you have to get to, but like me personally, as someone who's very into collectibles and toys and things that are fun, and someone with a child, even my family, we don't interact with Hasbro that much.
Well,
I do every day. Shout out to Nerf the arcade game.
Like they also they just didn't do anything to enter into the entertainment side. Like there's not like like
they tried, they failed.
Well, I think like if you look at Magic too, they have failed miserably at like selling the IP of Magic. Like why is
the media problem?
What?
That's the media problem.
Right.
That's why they got rid of E1 at an enormous loss.
Right. Why I would venture to say Magic's IP should be valuable. Like it should be a valuable asset, and they haven't used it at all, and they haven't like even licensed it. Like I guess they've done.
That's not true at all. Shout out to Cheez-Its. Shout out to IHOP.
They've done some crappy like mobile app game license
and Cheez-Its and IHOP.
But I don't know. I go back to like Netflix. Like why is there not like whatever like that Netflix documentary that never actually happened? That was a huge loss for Magic, in my opinion. But,
I mean, like
I think I said documentary, but the Netflix animated show is what I was talking about.
They need to, I mean, like clearly they have a media problem.
Yeah.
Right. And like like the whole media landscape's getting some weird issues right now. I mean, like going to Disney, like they just bought the last third of Hulu. Like Tiger's clearly looking to do something with ESPN. Like the whole landscape of entertainment's getting a little bit funky monkey. And it'll be interesting to see, like, does WotC lean into that and try their hand at the IP again? I think they should. I mean, that's where the value is.
I think they kind of gave up on that by adding universes, by innovating with universes beyond.
I don't think that's fair. I mean, you can certainly have both. I mean,
We'll see.
I mean, why can't I mean, like, certainly you can, right? I mean, like, you know,
We'll see. I think
Mario was in Pokemon. Like, that's not a huge, like, that's not crazy to me.
I mean, Mario was in Pokemon. What are you referencing? The
card that had Mario as Pikachu.
Okay.
That's what I was referencing.
The one card in his specialty set
and
in
Luigi.
Japan,
They had all of them.
Japan to celebrate the Nintendo's birthday.
This is what is so frustrating. It's the way you frame that statement is so frustrating.
It wasn't even in an English release, and it was.
They don't release any good cards in English. You've learned this, Louis.
Yeah, and it was wildly
a
successful, and people loved it, and it's lauded as so much fun and something so cool. But like, we're doing it here too. It's just now it's in English, I guess.
There's a big
freedom.
difference from that and a full-on set of which now Frodo is battling against Karn.
Yeah, it's
Like-
the
Wait,
Walking Dead secret layer that
Louis, you
said
gotta
was
say the
bad.
line. I'm okay with it. You
It's
gotta
the
say the line. I'm
Walking
okay
Dead
with it.
secret layer that you hated.
You gotta say I'm okay with it, Louis. Say the line. Say
I'm
the
okay
line.
with it, but
Yeah,
like
thank
I've
you.
accepted it now.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There's a difference between those things. Like,
I mean, like,
I'm sorry, but you guys are calling that just innovation. So
that is certainly an innovation. That's
Okay.
certainly an innovation.
okay,
Now, what I think you could argue, if you were a little bit more, savvy about this, Louis, would be like that was a missed opportunity because they should have also had more Magic characters. Probably not in that set, because I suspect that IP is pretty rough. But like they could have certainly done it with other sets. They probably could have leaned into their, a joint IP venture a little bit more. I think that would be fair to critique.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, listen, like they have an IP problem. WotC certainly has an IP problem.
All right. If we can agree on that, then that's fine with me.
I don't think anyone's ever disagreed on
Nobody's ever disagreed with that.
that. Nobody.
Cool. All right. Let's move on.
I want to get your I want to get your feelings on something that it seems like is happening at least with Magic the Gathering. We've talked about Hasbro and all the layoffs. We talked about how it affects people at WotC. And this is a vibe check. Are you guys ready for a Magic the Gathering community vibe check?
This is going to be a refill in a minute.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Does it feel like Magic is in a position of like trying to mend and reach out and like rebuild some of that relationship that they lost with the community?
Nope.
They're trying to.
firing 20% of your employees on Christmas do that for companies?
Oh, I'm sorry. I specifically mentioned we're talking about Wizards of the Coast, not Hasbro and Magic specifically.
Oh, I know the problem. Josh, your fuddler got burned out. That's the problem. It no longer works anymore. That's the problem.
I honestly had something fun. I'm burned out from this. Like it's crazy. The attitude that is approached it's so difficult. It's so difficult.
As the way that they are doing that.
I have no idea. I don't even know where I wanted to go anymore. I want to move on.
As the way that they're doing that.
I want to move on. That's what I want to do.
I can't give you my honest answer. Like, that's my honest answer.
If your honest answer was to address the thing that I mentioned in the first sentence that I'm clearly not talking about. That's your honest answer. All right. Appreciate your honesty, man. Thank you.
So, Josh, what I would say is that I think they're trying to expand their base.
I think I've always said Wizards of the Coast can't be as dumb as we want them to, or we always say they are. Like when they're like, we're printing the right amount of boxes and they're selling them well below what stores are selling them on Amazon. Like they clearly know they're printing too many boxes. Like they're not that stupid. They're doing things like collabs with the professor. Now they're promoting more content creators. It seems like they're like trying to inch their way back out and be like, hey, it's that South Park
that's
episode.
True, but I will say, Josh,
what?
They have not come on this podcast yet.
It's where you spill all the oil in the ocean and you ruin everything, and then you look and
they
say,
won't after this one either, though. If it helps,
we're sorry. Yeah, probably not.
I suspect this. Don't send them this clip if you're inviting them on. I'll give you a spoiler. Just find another week. Find another week. When you go into Switzerland or Iceland or New Zealand, Louis, I forget.
In May.
Send it back when me and Josh do it.
Are we recording a podcast when you're out?
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
be gone for 10 days.
Are you missing 2 podcasts or one?
We can pre-record the podcast.
Are you
just pumping?
Are you missing 2 podcasts or one?
I don't know. It's like a long time from now. It's 5 months from now. I don't even have my passport updated yet.
It'll be nice, George. I wanted to drink those weeks.
Yeah, like I think, listen, like Chris, this is why Chris Cox is going to be high paid. It's like he's going to have to make a pretty bad choice here, I think. Like, and it's not the WotC problem. Like, I don't think WotC's his problem.
No,
clearly, he has a Hasbro problem, and like he's going to have to solve this. Like, I mean, the shareholders. I mean, like the tank is the tank is stocking. Like he has to figure out how he's going to turn this around, and I think that's really hard. Like, I don't envy his position.
No, and you wonder if some of it just is. I mean, nothing is unsolvable, but it might be unsolvable in the way that we view Hasbro, the toy company, right now, right? Like Hasbro has to change. It seems like.
Yeah, what I would say is like the solution is probably not going to be pretty.
Yeah,
like there's not going to be a. I mean, like he's going to have to do so. Like he has to make some really hard decisions.
I was thinking today that the turning point for Magic the Gathering, like the biggest point of probably history for Magic the Gathering, will be when somebody buys Hasbro, because then what does the company do with Wizards? Do they keep it under the umbrella or do they let it go? And like, if I were to pick a time to buy like Wizards of the Coast product to invest in, it would be like the day before that announcement, because
I would do it with ill-gotten crypto gains.
Yeah, me too. That seems to be the way.
That seems way better.
25 million.
When George turns out to be the crypto, the crypto guy.
What if the crypto guy just buys WotC?
I posted my first ever reel on Instagram, and I got cut short because I don't know how to edit things.
Well, you're a little long-winded, bud.
But if you could take the profits from Wizards of the Coast and reinvest them in Wizards of the Coast, it would go so. Like if you could just focus on Magic the Gathering and D&D and be able to invest all the money being made from those things into things like into the innovative stuff like movies and Netflix series and
like media.
Like, listen, like that's how you grow a game. Like we're gonna talk about One Piece. The reason One Piece is doing so well is because they have 20 years of anime behind them. Like,
all right, I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole, but I will. Hold on, I am going to FUD alert myself preemptively. Imagine how many more sets and boxes and secret layers Wizards of the Coast could print if they reinvested all their gains back into themselves. We could get 16 sets a year and 14 secret layers every year.
Yeah, you could certainly get a lot more, but you could also see them.
Oh my god! And they could double how much they charge for Arena. Oh, they could. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the good stuff. Sorcery Beta. Week 3 of discussing Sorcery Beta, everyone.
It might be your last chance to buy boxes.
Buddy, I don't know if you know this, but Sorcery's model means this is week 3 in several weeks of discussing Sorcery Beta, buddy.
Actually. We might be on beta for a while until Arthurian Legends.
Be careful the sarcasm you approach that with.
They got to start teasing out some more Arthurian Legends stuff.
No, they do not.
That's way too quick. That is not what this. That is not what everyone who propped up Sorcery said they wanted. They want the opposite.
Listen, the viewers need content. They need. This is for content for us.
That is the point of the market update. That's the purpose.
God, where was it this week, Louis? Where was it?
It's tomorrow.
I promised you that we wouldn't have a market update every week. I said we weren't going to do that. I literally said in the video we weren't going to do it.
All I heard is market updates back.
That's all I heard too.
It's not back.
It's very
true or false. You asked me to do something to help with the market update
in content, Josh. If I'm going to tell you,
there's not a Lorcana market update either. Josh could be doing that.
There is every week. Look at the channel. Thanks for watching my content, bud.
Yeah,
I don't watch Lorcana video.
True or false? You asked me to build something to help make your market update weekly a little easier.
And you told me true or false that I couldn't afford you.
True or false?
Oh, that's true.
No,
Why
you
would you
said
for all of
word
it?
for word, I can't afford you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I did say that. But
Yeah.
you want the market tool for the weekly market update. You're addicted just like me.
I want the tool.
Like me.
I want to pay for the work. I don't want to do the energy and put the work in. That's what I said in my video.
I'm too big of a deal
I
now.
don't
Josh,
have
if
the
you don't know
time.
this.
It's
I
a
have
lot of
another
work.
kid. I didn't have 2 kids when I was doing the market update.
Big deal, Louis DeGeorge. Big deal, DeGeorge. That's what they call him.
So sorcery beta. I want to talk about should they print more, because
That's a hot topic.
There was a passionate video this week.
there was a
Passion.
passionate
Yeah.
Rudy video in which Rudy,
He calls out some people.
a brand new Rudy. We haven't seen this Rudy in a while.
I like this.
Okay,
Rudy.
all right.
Fan of this Rudy.
This is like let me tell you, this is by a mile my favorite Rudy.
Yeah.
I
miss
want
this
the
Rudy.
fire and brimstone Rudy.
I miss this Rudy.
I miss this Rudy so much.
The Rudy that's like just straight honesty.
Straight truth bombing.
Didn't think about it. Didn't get anything approved before he started talking.
Mm-mm.
Just straight up went for it.
Gone.
I love that.
It's
my
the best.
favorite.
The only thing I love more than that is someone standing in front of the camera and cutting up playmats. That's passion. That's fire.
That was a great video.
That's not my favorite. Dude, I loved that video. If I could like that thing more than once, I would. I'd log into my alternate accounts and like it.
That's the only video at my store that's from that generation of Kitchen Table TCG. That's the only video that people know or quote or talk about ever.
Dude, it's a good video.
Anytime Channel Fireball's mentioned, everyone's like, hide your playmats.
That's it. You have a meme about that's such a good meme, too.
pretty good.
Oh.
Anyway, in this video, Rudy was criticizing print runs of other TCGs, and he talked about sorcery, and he said, I'm going to butcher the quote, but if sorcery wants to watch their game die, they can print more beta boxes or something something like that.
It's a decent synopsis. That's a fair synopsis.
The general statement. And we've already talked a lot on the podcast on like, should sorcery print more boxes? We did our speculation on print run numbers. And what?
Josh's number will always be my favorite.
90,000.
93,000, I believe it was.
No, it's 95
Prove
or
it.
75.
Prove it, Josh.
I don't know where that piece.
You threw it away.
Boo.
You've had it every other
Boo.
week. You've had it right there, ready for it.
I've had so many. I had to ship things for the first time in my content creator career. I had to revamp the office, man. I had to ship like 12 things. It was so much work. How do you do this? It's so much work.
So anyway, I want to go a little bit into this a little bit more. Because we are seeing beta be, and they're like, what's the boxes at right now? Josh, what was your market update this week on beta? You had
Didn't have one. Boxes are at about $200. It's like $195 with some or with like $3 shipping.
yeah.
So they're sitting about where they were last week. But it's interesting to note when I grabbed the sales from this week, sales have slowed for the first time since Sorcerer's release, which makes sense as boxes are approaching $200 and they're readily available. They are slowing.
One of the things that I've noticed with sorcery is it takes a while for everybody to sort the cards to figure out, like, am I going to open more boxes or am I going to buy singles? Like, what am I going to do?
There's a lot of cards in the set. I finished my last box opening the other day and I saw, I think, 2 or 3 cards that I hadn't seen yet. I was blown away. I was like, how is this possible?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I think everyone's also like, are more boxes coming? Like, that's definitely a very question. I did a video this week just to hear, like, sometimes I'll do videos just because I want to see what the comments are. Like, I want to gauge like the interest.
I just rage bait the Louis DeGeorge channel.
So I did a video that was like, should they do more beta? And then I took Switzerland. Like, I was like pretty much right in the middle of the whole video. And at the end, I said what I've always said is that they should do like a 15% increase. Like, they should, like, 15% more boxes. I don't think is enough to tank the market of.
They should do no more right now, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think they should do nothing right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think like stores need something before Arthurian Legends. I think
That's a year. They need something in the next 52.
it's not coming out in December of next year.
Do you know
No,
the release date?
but probably
Because I haven't heard
September
it.
or October.
Scooby?
Yeah.
You guys ready for a Scoopy? Sorcery Scoopy?
Oh my god!
I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Are you cutting this? Are you cutting this eventually?
No, this isn't that type of Scoopy. This is from a anonymous source Scoopy.
Is it me? Is it one of my videos where I lied to you?
No. Do you do that? Do you lie in your videos?
Only the ones I know you're gonna watch. Hey Louie, check this out.
So none of them?
I try to give you bad takes, dude, because I know you're gonna steal them.
Today.
I don't know. The Scoopy was basically a theory that the Arthurian Legends is coming first before the Dragon mini set.
Is the Dragon mini set confirmed, or is that still a theory?
It's confirmed. Like, it's definitely confirmed.
Okay.
It's not confirmed from Sorcery, but like the artist. The artist is talking about, hey, I'm making Sorcery. I got commissioned from Sorcery. He like streams and stuff like that.
We got the contents of March of the Machine Aftermath collector boosters confirmed before Wizards of the Coast did, so I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But that I think the speculation is like June, July. That's the
for Arthurian Legends.
Sense. That would be a year after they initially decided to release beta. Like that was the proposed
release date for beta was July.
Beta was, I think it was August, if I'm remembering correctly.
It might have been August. I think it lined up with Lorcana. Oh my gosh, did beta line up with the first Lorcana release and then release with the second Lorcana release?
Listen, yeah, we talked about that. That was like a whole thing.
I forgot about that.
Listen though, I am team Sorcery not revealing any days until they have boxes in America.
I'm not. I want them to promise dates again.
No,
it's great content.
You want
content. That's content.
I don't want to deal with George being right on delays again. Like I can't advocate.
I can't have George be right all the time. He has to be wrong sometimes.
You're not a very gracious person to be right. It's hard to be around you when you're right
or wrong. Really,
doing a podcast with you is easily the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
That follows.
Yeah.
Mine was investing in an AI company.
Are you talking about that now?
Mine was taking meetings with the AI company George invested in.
Mine was listening to George talk about it every day on the phone for a year.
George, you created a rough year for us, bud.
Yeah,
that's true.
Anyway, so George, you're changing your tune then, because you were all team. They need more boxes.
No, that was never George's tune.
It's 100%.
They could print more boxes when the market cools down. Right now, until Louis stops doing FOMO videos, that's the top signal. That's the top signal. When Louis not like, last chance to own a card, FOMO win now.
You're putting up Louis, George. You get the FUD alert, bud.
I never said it's the last chance to own a card. I told you I was buying cards because I thought it was the last time I was going to be able to get it. Shout out to the Eric Curioso I got this week.
Where's the FUD alert now, Josh? Take it back.
I didn't tell anybody else that. I made that mistake before on the channel. Like, this is just my own.
I can't retroactively FUD alert from a year and a half ago.
So here's the problem, right? If you were to double the size of the print run right now, every box would sell out.
Yeah. Okay.
Really?
Absolutely. The problem is it's not real demand. It's runaway train demand.
Okay.
What you really need to know, like we're looking at this with Lorcana right now. How much demand is there actually for boxes? What does volume actually look like right now for Lorcana when it's on the shelf?
Yeah.
When the sorcery market's gonna cool down. I'm sorry, sorcery fanatics. The market won't only go one direction in perpetuity. We've seen this with every other indie TCG. When the second edition box comes out, everything goes nuts, then cools down. When that cool down happens,
we've also hold on. Let me highlight that.
Hold on, Boo Boo.
The print run.
Hold on, Boo Boo.
No. I get to respond.
That's when you can release more boxes. When you release more boxes, when the market cools down a little bit, because then you can see what demand is actually like.
I respect that, and I understand that. I don't think though. Sorcery is not doing the things that every other game that we've followed anyway has done, which is like multiple exponentially increase the print run of your second booster box.
We don't know that. They haven't done the second booster box yet.
They have.
The beta
Beta's
is
the
their second booster box.
Is what he's talking about.
I'm
He's talking about
talking about the second set.
No, I'm talking
No,
about.
he's talking about beta as the second booster box.
So like we haven't seen
You
a.
have no idea the print run.
Yeah, but like we know that they didn't like way overdo it.
We know they got the right print run number, but we don't know if that right print run number is 500,000 or 25,000.
Yeah. Well, we speculated on it. I thought that's what we were.
Yeah, like I do agree that like my speculations are usually correct. Pretty much.
Great. Now we're banned from sorcery. Good thing I ran out of boxes. Great. Awesome. Thanks,
but
George.
like I think like I don't think you could like I do agree with Rudy candidly that releasing boxes right now would be a very big mistake.
So
I think the market would absorb them and then reject them.
hold on.
He's gonna steal my take right now. I said this on the phone today. He's about to steal my take.
Do it, Josh. Do it, Josh.
No, I said this to you on the phone, and you said I had the same take. That was our conversation.
That might be true.
This is the comment section that Rudy wants to say.
Tonight.
I literally I started typing this on Rudy's video, and then I said, "No, I'm not doing it." But go ahead, Josh. You can take the take.
I won't take this take. What I will say is there might be an uneven distribution of boxes, making us not really feel what the print run actually is, if that makes sense. I think there are.
I don't understand.
Certain places that got more.
I'll go there. Okay. So Rudy can say.
I wasn't going with Rudy. I was going with the other one.
I'll go there for both of them. I'll go there.
That's fine. I was talking about Team Covenant.
Get banned from Rudy.
I have a trillion boxes.
I'm not gonna get banned for it. Like, Rudy can say, "Hey, don't put out more boxes. It's a mistake for sorcery to put out more boxes." When Rudy has 6,000 boxes coming to him in 2 months, like he knows that. Like he has boxes coming to him, so he doesn't have to wonder. Frankly, it's a good thing for boxes to be $250 when Rudy goes to sell them on his patron sale with a promo card and whatever. That is a win for Rudy. Like that, and it's
that's a win for anyone who gets sorcery at that moment.
What is? Yeah, sure.
The price and the demand and everything feeling like that runaway train George always talks about.
Yeah. And like frankly, like I would if I were to venture out and guess what this all boils down to, I would venture out and guess that there is a small restock at distribution around the same time that Rudy gets a restock. That is what I have been inferring from and assuming from this whole thing is that we get around, my estimate would be 15% increase in supply through distribution around the same time that Rudy does his sale. And I hope that's the case. But to come out and say sorcery should not print out boxes is easier to say when you know that you have boxes coming as a retailer.
So I wasn't taking your take. I was going to let you go there. I was going somewhere else with it.
Okay.
I was going the fact that it's hard for someone like you. I mean, let's face it. You're building a sorcery community that's probably going to be one of the more dedicated ones in the state. Whether you like it or not, he's the number one sorcerer.
I will assure you, you will have the most dedicated one in West Virginia.
I meant to say states, like the United States.
Yeah, in West Virginia,
you are the number one sorcery content creator, as much as we all dislike
in West Virginia.
And I'm going for number 2. But it's hard for you.
My market update.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm stealing it. It's hard for you to build that grassroots community that can become something when you don't know if and when you're getting more boxes. And I think that's what sorcery is going to face. That's the problem.
Yeah. Like, listen, like the sorcerer's going to find out very quickly if they don't have more boxes to retailers, and if they don't give out more boxes through the normal means of distribution,
right.
Or to whatever content creators, whatever, you can throw me in there. I'm not going to harp on this, but sorcerer's going to quickly find out who actually cares about sorcery and who's just in it for like the free tendies that exist because boxes are low. And
I kind of got this sign when, as someone who offered box openings at a discount and tried to spread like the idea of collectability of sorcery and tried to talk about what I liked about the game, it was suggested to me that like, oh, just go buy boxes from Team Covenant so you can continue selling them to your channel members. And that hit me the wrong way. That's not how you grow a game or grow this scene, by creating these retailers. So all retailers, in my opinion, don't own a store, just a loser in his own basement, but should be on the same playing field. And what they do should put their communities on different pedestals. This is what I think is going to be sorcery's biggest problem.
That is such a hard balance to figure out.
For sure.
I selfishly straight up agree with you. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, why can't I get boxes, but Team
But
Covenant
also,
has boxes?
sorcery needs the exposure. Like,
but like
You're allowed to say that this week. I got cut last week for saying that. You're allowed to say that. I got cut. I got the edit.
cuts. You can't reveal our cuts.
They're my edits. I said it last week and I got edited. You're allowed to say that.
Well, one of us is allowed to say it.
Back, Sammer.
But like, I think it's
just want George to dance for the rest of this podcast.
So what Eric's Curiosa has said essentially is that they judge demand based on the sales on Team Covenant. Like that is how they are. That's what they said with the beta pre-orders. I do think it is an incredible advantage to be able to have boxes and seemingly endless supply of that as a retailer, and that is a advantage that should exist. I guess shouldn't exist to everybody, but seems like an unfair advantage for one retailer that does some stuff for the game. For sure does some stuff for the game, but is certainly not the only person or community or group that is growing the sorcery TCG. And listen, This is what I'm saying. You will see, based on that, if they continue to do that, you will see who cares about sorcery and who doesn't care about sorcery.
Doesn't it at some point, though, and I'm going to ask you as a store owner, and maybe take yourself out of your own shoes as someone who's super passionate about sorcery. As a store owner, it doesn't matter about caring about sorcery. Sooner or later, it becomes a numbers game.
Oh, sooner or later, if I was just a store owner, I would be. And I saw the way that is. The problem is most store owners don't see that. Most store owners don't even know Team Covenant exists. But
let's pretend they don't even know Team Covenant exists, right? They get their boxes, they sell their boxes. They don't know when the next set is coming out. They don't know when they're going to be able to get more boxes. Why would they continue to host play nights and try to keep people excited? You want to keep those groups together to sell them the product, because like the dirty secret no one wants to say into a microphone, which is fascinating, is like our local game store should be able to make money. Like, sure. Oh my god, like, but why outside of caring for sorcery to grow, right? If you're just a local game store owner, what's your motivation to continue to build that community? That's my big concern.
And it's not there. The motivation, and it goes not just to the store owner, but also to the players. Go try to start an event or a community and not have prize support for your players.
I think players, we reach out, and you know this. You reach out as a player with your heart more. Like you connect with this product more, and like you're willing to do it. You can build that community without that. I would think it's tough. You're right. It's very tough.
Listen, like I just did this with Lorcana. Like I had to do
a goat
for Lorcana. We had 0 packs. We had nothing.
Yeah.
This is why I personally saved boxes of sorcery so that I could, have packs in the store. But like for Lorcana, we ran out of packs. We couldn't do anything. We didn't get any when they said distro told us we were going to get more boxes in November or whatever. And we couldn't run events. So I had to do events, and I was like, free event, and no prize support, free event, no prize support. And everyone was like, we want prize support. So I started charging, and then I had a tally of like, I owe you 15 packs of Lorcana first chapter from prize support. That's just like the way we had to do it. I guess I could have bought boxes from the secondary market and just lost money. But this goes into this whole wild world we live in, which is like, online content is valuable. I was trading alpha cards today with somebody who's like, I started playing sorcery because of your channel. Like I found that because of your channel. Like I'm sure that exists for it obviously exists for Rudy. I'm sure it exists for Team Covenant and the other stuff. Like
I want you to know, Josh, I started following Lorcana because of your content.
Thanks, bud.
Like that
weekly market updates.
Those things are valuable, and I believe that stores should be, I think content creators and stores should be rewarded. That's an extremely biased take. Let me just say that first off, like I'm extremely biased in that as a content creator. I just wish that there was a different way to reward those stores and creators other than the product that should be available at LGSs and across the board, not just from 1 or 2 retailers.
So I agree. I just think they need let the market settle first. Like that's my only argument. Let the market settle first and then do it. Because this is where every other indie TCG did fall into this trouble, right? They believe their own hype. They were like, "Oh my God, we sold out of these boxes immediately. The next thing's gonna sell it even more. Keep printing. Like, this is where Rudy's absolutely right. Like, that's what every other indie TCG has done.
Sure.
And like, it's ended in disaster for all of them.
Yeah, and like, again, like even the 15% thing that I go with, like that is much better used in 3 months than it is right now.
Yeah, like there's
Sorcery doesn't need more hype right now. It's there. People are following the game.
That's why
we're not talking about injecting boxes into the market today.
Yeah,
like,
Sorcery will need more hype in 3 months, and so a restock around that timeline makes a lot of sense. I just like Rudy's blanket statement of like, if they reprint more boxes, it will deteriorate everything. I don't buy that in the ferocity that Rudy was presenting it. I
think he was also speaking from a platform of every time that we've seen an indie TCG company print boxes, that print run has been mismanaged. And Rudy probably sees a print run that feels very well done and properly. As far as like first public indie TCG releases go, like huge ovation here. But I think Rudy's speaking from that position of maybe a little bit of histrionics, like oh God, now you're going to overdo it like everyone else. Like, don't do it.
I always tell any company I'm a part of, make a new mistake. There's plenty of mistakes we can make, and if we make a new one, it won't make me angry. Right. Can we make a new one? And like, reprinting right now would be a mistake that we've seen every other indie TCG make. Let's make a new one.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important to say, like, all the other games that we've followed have had this issue of money, and it's like Sorcery is kind of unique in the world where, like,
I want to be careful with that, because like it's easy now. Sure. When you're first getting off the ground and you're passionate about everything and your business is your best thing in your life to not care about money. Just like Sorcery's long print run, I think sooner or later, regardless of how much money you have in the bank, to get to that position, you've got something that drives you, and seeing that business lose money is going to start to eat at you. So I just want to be careful with that, how long we use that.
I have said since day one, the biggest risk for Sorcery is does Eric get bored? Like, Eric, this is his passion project. This is his the project that he is loving and he's invested in energy wise. And like the biggest risk for Sorcery is like, does Eric just get bored of the whole experience?
I think you're underplaying the financial. I think he is, and again, I don't know.
I don't know any of Eric's finances other than I know that he personally financed.
Come on the podcast and bring your personal balance sheet. Let's do it, buddy. Let's go through line by line.
Bank account doxing. We're doxing George's phone number.
I don't know any of the finances other than he personally financed.
Do they have 401ks in New Zealand? Or is it like sheepskin?
$4 million worth of artwork for Alpha, and like
I thought it was $1 million.
No, it was like basically $10,000 per artwork.
Are you questioning the #1 Sorcery content creator who's currently being backed up by the #2 Sorcery content creator?
Are you going to Google it? What info are you going to find when you Google
put it in the comment section below? I thought it was $1 million in the first artwork.
No, because I'm pretty sure it's the same amount that they raised on the Kickstarter. Like, they ended up making the...
Louis, this is why you're the best Sorcery art content creator, too.
I don't know,
dude.
My number might be wrong.
I want some shady auctions, then you can take it over.
All right, let's move on.
All right, now we're punching things in the nose. Great.
I didn't say anything about anybody. I just said I want like mystery auctions.
Speaking of punching things in the nose. Speaking of punching things in the nose, let's talk about George's
Chicago.
Let's talk about George's research on One Piece this week. You've been addicted, man. You've been every phone call I've had with George.
We're starting the One Piece conversation with a story. With you texting me at the gym with the random Bandai One Piece link. It was in my phone. I'm at the gym and I got some link and I instantly snap reply. Louis, market update man, hit me with the link to a TCG product. Text him instantly. Do I buy this, bud? Is this the move? Heard nothing from him. So you know what? For the first time since the MetaZoo NFT that I currently still own.
That's your fault, man. That's not my fault.
Currently still, oh no, it's 100% your fault. I bought it all because of you, bud. And that's how I knew One Piece is where it's at. I'm all in.
We are back. I am back.
So back.
We're not back. You're back.
Listen,
the market has not moved.
No, you're back with us, bud. Sorry, dude.
I'm back. We're back to COVID level hype for TCGs.
All three of us actively have COVID, George. Welcome to the party.
I'm back. Yeah, One Piece. I also bought decks from Target this week. They put out more of the OP1 decks. I bought them at Target MSRP. There was a limit of 3, so that's all I could get. But
We're so back.
I almost did multiple limits of 3, but then my kid distracted me.
your kid swiped the credit card like this.
It wasn't at Target. It was on my phone.
Daddy, why are you being so unethical?
Why am I being unethical?
Yeah, how is me stealing all the decks from the kids unethical? The Louis George question.
I'm gonna sell them in my store at MSRP.
George, you don't understand commerce. You don't
I'm
understand.
trying to build a
retail.
community.
Joey,
my card shipper, he's trying to collect one of each of the sets of the decks.
Wait, that's what we're going with? I was on board until we started with these lame excuses.
No, like I wanted one of them for myself. I was going to sell
want to
one
be all
at
the way back.
And give one
I'm
to
just
Joey
all the way
for
back.
Christmas. So, anyway, I would have bought a lot more, but I didn't. George, you've been really. Every time I've talked to George this week, he's been like, "Dude, I'm obsessed with figuring out One Piece." I don't.
So yes, Louis, I have talked to. I've talked to probably I'm going to say 5 or 10 people about One Piece.
Have you talked to the #1 One Piece content creator, aka Louis George?
Yes, I have.
That can't be true. I don't watch any One Piece content. That can't be true. There's got to be a bunch of One Piece.
I have no clue.
I
I talked to people who people I respect in the biz, and people I don't respect in the biz. And like,
it's amazing that that our community hasn't really overlapped with One Piece very much.
That's
like.
You just started the podcast by saying everyone in the comments section asked us to talk about One Piece.
Recently, I'm saying up until this point, though.
Okay.
One Piece was completely off George and I's radar. Like, it's amazing that we missed this. We've been involved in every TCG.
We are good at sniffing out the garbage.
Yeah, we have gotten.
We are not truffle pigs. We are garbage pigs.
And
please view the shelf of garbage.
We missed this. Like,
we missed every game that succeeds with incredible accuracy. It's great because it's
so
true.
What have you learned?
Okay, so you want like the good, the bad, or the ugly first?
No. First, I want to know this:
Mm-hmm.
What made you go around to the people you respect on the internet and ask them what they thought about One Piece? What is it that hooked you? Because you've been mostly making fun of me for talking about One Piece.
I'm still making fun of you for talking about One Piece because it's the next game up. I'm making fun of you because
I don't like it. I don't care about it.
Hold on, Boo Boo. It very much feels like the next game up.
I don't
absolutely
care about One Piece.
This will be the 20th game this podcast covers. It'll be
you
the
use it as
40th
an
game
example a lot for someone who doesn't care.
You guys wanted to talk about One Piece this week. I didn't even want to talk about it. It's called Jordan's One Piece.
You put the topics together. You're the only one that didn't work on the topics this week.
So here's why. Like, it's honestly Josh's numbers. He told me that they sold an insane amount of boxes.
Their TCG player sales are very good.
They're not Lorcana numbers, but that's all right. They'll get there one day.
George,
you won't.
George,
yeah,
they're closer than I thought.
Yeah, closer than I thought. About 30% less. You'll get there one day. Keep trying, son. And we're proud of you almost. And so they are clearly a top 5 TCG. Clearly.
Very
clearly.
Very much feels like it.
It is Magic, Pokemon, Lorcana, One Piece. What am I missing? Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
And probably Weiss.
I don't know about Weiss.
Clearly they're in the top 5. Clearly.
Do we have sales data on Weiss?
No.
Josh?
Come on, Josh, get with it, buddy.
Based on sales data from what Josh tracks and looks at, they are toe and toe with Lorcana.
They are not toe and toe. They're 30% less.
Yeah, that's basically toe and toe.
That math checks out based on every other conversation we've had.
They're 30% less, and now they're way less than chapter 1. But that's okay. And so at the end of the day, listen, they're real. That's a real number. Yeah. It's not like they sold 500 boxes on TCG Player or something.
Something weak like 800. Yeah.
They sold real numbers of boxes at real volume. And so I was I'm missing something. That's why I started to call people, because I didn't expect small indie 500 box TCG level boxes. I thought they would do better than that, obviously. But like the fact that like they're much closer to Lorcana than that, that's real. Like that's real volume. That's no BS volume.
So it's a real volume, and it's what I've been talking about with when I do talk about sorcery is it's selling at a higher price.
Yeah, it's moving.
Like it's the demand is there at an increased price.
It's interesting though. I will say that if OP4, I don't have your data. Maybe I'm just speculating based on like my story.
I'm in. You had me in speculation.
But like OP4 came down in price, and like the volume did not pick up when like what we're talking about with sorcery beta, right? The volume picked up when prices came down, and what we've seen with Lorcana, we'll talk about in the next.
That hasn't happened with sorcery beta. That's only happened with Lorcana because the price hasn't.
With sorcery, 100% happened. Boxes hit 130. The demand went up.
When did the box?
And it certainly happened with alpha.
Oh, it happened with alpha. Yes,
Yeah.
It happened with alpha. I don't think it's happened with beta yet, but.
Okay, so let's go back to where we're going to talk about in a second about Lorcana. Anyway, when box prices came down, the demand went way up.
Yes,
the number of buyers, and that has not been my experience with One Piece. It's
so so that is the bad. Like I think there's some good. I think there's an amazing argument for One Piece that I learned. The bad argument is what you just said. Is that like the swings are drastic and significant.
I told Joey the other day because Joey's the one who got me to do One Piece, and every time I have not been a store at GTS for 6 months. Like I just got in at the start of OP4. So the crazy thing with One Piece and all Bandai games is you have to pre-order 6 months in advance.
Yep, we did this.
So all the boxes that I've gotten of One Piece, I've had to take like the complete crap Bandai products like Battle Spirit Saga and all these games that are like complete nonsense junk, like selling on TCG Player below cost in order to get the boxes. I told Joey, I said, like whenever these One Piece boxes hit the $90 price point, I should just be buying them as a store on TCG Player from the open market to have in store at the $120 price point that we sell our One Piece at. Because like that's the time to pick up supply, because you can't get supply at distribution unless you're ordering 6 months in advance. It's kind of a wild market. Like I'm learning like a ton. Like it's a wild market.
What I don't know, this is like so I just don't know, is like basically unanimously people told me it was a player's game, which I think is like a good thing. But I told him like that doesn't make sense with the way I'm seeing prices.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, something's missing, right? Like,
but
we see active examples of players' game, and the prices are not favorable.
Yeah, and so like, I think it's certainly more complicated than saying it's just a player's game. But like, I do think people are playing this game.
So
like, I do think people are playing. I don't think it's one of those that like, 3 or 4 people show up for an event. I think like people actually show up for these events.
So
and a lot of because they have great prize support.
That they do have really cool prize support. The prize support is crazy. Now here's a couple things. I have noticed that, and I've heard this from 2 stores now too, because I kind of called around asking. There's a lot of people who complain about One Piece as store owners because they say people always come in and buy the boxes, but they never show up to the events. So there is, and maybe that's just my
no, that totally passes my smell test with like the pull rates.
Yeah, like there is certainly people, in my opinion, but what I'm also hearing is that on the West Coast, this game is on the West Coast and in Japan.
I never ever believe anything anybody says about a game being popular in Japan, because every game has tried to run that bamboozlement on me, and like I'm not getting fooled again. I do not believe it.
It does feel like once or twice a year we try to get convinced
a game is on the struggle bus.
Your favorite indie TCG is just popping off and the Japan market's going crazy.
It's struggling here, but have you been to Tokyo?
Yeah.
No.
And there's a screenshot of the one game store with a case of stuff.
Yeah. Like I got it. But like I do like listen, like
now
like Josh's number shocked me.
Can I finish that? So one of the things with Japan, I'm told, again, this is just from that One Piece is like as popular as like Mario is in Japan. Like this is what I learned about One Piece is crazy. It's a 20-year-old anime. This is not like a new, fresh thing. It's a 20-year-old. That when I learned,
I thought it was new. I'm with you.
Yeah, when I'm a boomer, dude. I tried watching this thing and I was like, this is terrible. I
I
can't
didn't even
watch
try.
this.
Good for you.
No, I can't watch this. This
Good
is
for you.
awful. But like, I don't know, dude. People convinced me in the length of the IP and that it's been around. Now here's
So
the question.
this is hold on. I'm stopping you right there.
Okay.
I am stopping you right there because I want to give. I don't do this very often. I want to give you credit. Yeah. George, earmuffs.
Can we record this?
You have talked about games.
Right. Because I immediately looked and was like, oh my God, did he not hit record, this idiot?
And certain things that matter. You have an IP with a 20+ year track record that's incredible. And you have a game that people are flocking to. Now, here's the bad thing. The company making the game, not the best history or maybe no history, right?
Oh, they definitely have a history.
They definitely have a history of like 5 sets of a really good game and then completely crashing and deteriorating it and ruining it.
So I think I have record of you on this podcast saying those are big enough warning signs for you to not consider something a massive success, a huge, giant success. And I want to give you the opportunity here to talk about all the bad things with One Piece and all the way it's and by the way, before you talk about this mismanagement, I want to point you to some things that this company is doing. The most recent Dragon Ball Super Box, $50 on the secondary market. Hold on, we're not done. The most recent Battle Spirit.
I know. I had to buy.
Selling
I had
on
to
the
buy all this.
Amazon for $39.99.
I had to buy all this.
Can we continue to the Digimon product for $38 on Amazon as well? So I just want to give you the floor, man, and let you get those worries off your chest that I know you have.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like Bandai has a terrible track record. The only thing worse than Bandai's app for running games would be not having any app, like not having any way to actually like run.
So that's the line now.
Yeah, actually, Lorcana is really struggling with bringing boxes out.
Actually, I think not having something would be way better because you could just use the magic.
I just happened to notice some similarities while I was digging today. There's some correlation going on.
So they're doing some things really well. They're doing some things absolutely terrible. Their app and their organized play setup is complete and utter trash.
Well, the current app is just the worst.
They need somebody to do that for them.
It is. So the biggest thing for me, the biggest frustration is the 6-month ordering window that you can't get. That sucked. Also, hold on.
I got to take on that.
Can I finish? The 6-month ordering window sucks. For a new store, you can't get product at all for 6 months. Like it's non-existent. The additional of that, not only can't you get product, but you have to plan your events 2 months out. You have to set up and you have to say, I'm hosting this event in 2 months. And then you can't change that. It's done. It's on their system. What?
Oh, that's funny.
That sucks.
It's on their system. You can't. So like we were doing the pre-release and I set it up for Saturday because that's when we were running our events. And then my whole community was like, hey, we can't be there Saturday. Can you do it on Sunday? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? So our whole Discord knows that it's on Sunday. But then somebody calls me on Saturday like, hey, I'm on my way to your event. Are you guys still running your One Piece event? I'm like, no, sorry, I can't change it on Bandai's app because they don't let you edit it. It's absolutely like the whole thing is atrocious.
It's rough.
So those things suck. And like the real question, we go back to this every time with every game, is print runs. Like
I agree with that.
They can't gauge the demand because everyone's doing exactly what everyone does. All stores do. It's hot, so everybody's ordering 1 million boxes of OP6 and OP7. But like, who knows what the actual demand is? Of course, I'll take 400 boxes of OP7 right now if you can get it to me. But like, if everybody gets 400 boxes, we are all screwed. Like, that's the way this works.
Let me tell you the reason. Like, I've softened my the reason. Like, I've turned. I'm not gonna say bullish, but like more bullish on One Piece. There's one thing: quick games. Like that is their market. And like in a world where like games have got longer, more complex, and harder, like that's a pretty good niche. Like you know, if you can bring a couple buddies over and bang out 3 games in 20 minutes, you're gonna find something there. Like that's like in a quick world, like in a world like I can't sit down and play a game for 3 hours anymore. I'm doing a stupid podcast. Like you know, I gotta get Louis in check. You know, I gotta learn about innovation. You know, things like that. You know, without that time, if you can do games very quickly, I think that's a big boost.
Yeah.
to One Piece.
Yeah.
No, I think it's 100% the best part of their gameplay.
Yeah,
It's
I
also
think the
easy to
IP
learn. It's
I think the
incredibly easy
IP
to learn.
is like I think it's good. But like
Well,
we've
it
seen
gives
a lot
them a
of,
platform to stand on, right?
yeah, we've seen a lot of failed. You've seen a
So-
lot of failed TCGs around.
Their IP
anime.
opens up the collector market incredibly well. Like
I
right now,
think that's
the number one card from OP5 is a card that's
This is so wild.
it's
This
an
is so
The similarities
wild.
are insane.
it's
This
an
is so wild.
it's an embossed autograph of the
And autograph.
it's embossed, but like it's stamped embossed autograph from the creator of One Piece, not
That's
the creator
cool.
of the TCG, the creator
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the whole thing. And so like that card's selling for like $2,000, $1,800 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Somebody pulled one in my store this week and they didn't sell it to me. I was pissed. But yeah, anyway.
We've seen listen, chase cards like that, like the possibility, even if you know you're never gonna pull one, the possibility of pulling it just drives sales.
And
It
here's
does.
the other thing about One Piece is it's liquid, right? Like that's where like a lot of these other indie TCGs, you're like, this card's worth $10,000. You're like, yeah, but nobody's
That's
buying
the last sold, but there's 5 of them on the market, right?
it. Yeah, like nobody's buying that card.
Right.
Like, One Piece is wildly liquid.
Yeah.
Like
What's the product
honestly,
too?
Well, go with the tell them what you said about the grading.
oh, that's the other thing. Is like, so I was like, I was doing some eBay searching, trying to like, I really did try to like,
Do
better
your research.
understand the market. I did my research. I wanted to not get yelled at by Louis for once in this podcast. It didn't work out this week. And like,
I'm sorry.
you smell toast.
I'm sorry. You feel yelled
And
at.
so like,
Soft.
they have a ton of BGS 10s.
Yeah.
Not PSA 10s. The grade that Louis said a bunch of sorcery cards would get, BGS 10s.
Well, they've also been at it for a year now. Like,
At this
and
point-
Bandai's been at it for a lot longer than a year.
At this point, I just want BGS to actually grade my sorcery cards rather than telling me that they won't grade them again.
Wait, did they really say that to you again?
Oh, there's another card. I just got a notice that my Parmesan cheese they won't grade because it's not appropriate enough for them.
What does that mean?
Well, it's like kind of a naked girl. Not really
That's
though.
interesting.
Just kind
When
of
I
naked.
opened a Riddle Sphinx, I was worried I was going to get banned off YouTube. I was like, great,
Yeah,
there goes the last 2.5 years of my
like-
channel.
A BGS 10 is legit hard to get.
for every other game, but not
Like, One Piece has a ton of them.
their cards feel really good too. Like it's a
Like-
little bit of a thicker card stock.
And
type.
like listen, like I gave I'm joking with sorcery, but like their cards are fine. Like they're not bad. They don't feel bad. Sorcery cards don't feel bad. They feel fine. They feel good. But
I
like
was surprised. I really liked the way sorcery
yeah,
cards feel.
like
I was blown away.
BGS 10s are hard to get. Like that's why I didn't think it would happen very often. And like One Piece has a ton. Like so like if you have a game that's printed well, you have a strongish IP, and like you have a niche in gameplay, you have something.
Yeah.
No, do I think it'll be here in 20 years? I don't know. Like a lot of games don't last 20 years.
But George,
But I think it has
imagine if it's
to.
around in 10 years. Just imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like they have something.
Yeah.
They have a lot more than I thought they had. Any other week before I did my research, like Leo always tells me to do.
It'll be interesting to see if they grow into other distros too, other distribution hubs.
If not, they should. If not, they're gonna have a hard time.
Well,
like-
do you think that's part of the reason why the secondary market is as hot as it is?
Yeah, of
Because every game store is hooked up with the main two distributors, and it's hard to get this product.
Well, the rumor, God bless every distributor. They're like, we're gonna get it soon. We're gonna get it soon. I'm like, you've been saying that to me for 2 years.
The contract's over at OP5 is what I've been told.
I've also been told this, but nobody I trust has told me this. Like a lot of people who have a very vested interest in that being true have told me that.
That's the biggest question mark too, because like in order to add 2 more distributors, you have to increase your print supply quite
They
significantly.
shouldn't add 2. They should add 1.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They should pick one.
This
I don't
goes
know who they pick.
this goes back to that like thought of like how many people are buying One Piece boxes just because the price is high or because they are speculating on it and whatever versus what the true demand is, and it's impossible for them to identify it. This is what Lorcana is running into, right? Like what is the true
Well,
demand?
now we know, though. Now we do know.
Right, now we know for Lorcana, but like this is One Piece can't make that mistake. I don't think. Whereas
Yeah, I think
Lorcana
that's fair.
can make the mistake.
I think
Like
that's fair.
the hype is bigger for Disney, right? Like it's obviously like Sorcery can't make that mistake. We've seen all the indie TCGs make that mistake and they die, but like Lorcana is different because it's Disney.
This is
But
the most pro
Aren't you concerned that Bandai has shown you that they will make that mistake?
Bandai hasn't shown me anything because I don't follow Bandai. Like I know that they have in the past.
Here's the one thing I will say. Like I do agree they have a rough history, but like I will say this. They seem to be taking this game very seriously. That's not to say that like they can't blow it. The most impressive thing about Magic and Pokemon is one thing. They've lasted 30 years. And it's very easy to not last 30 years. It's like there's 2 games that have done it. Like,
Yu-Gi-Oh's there.
Is that true?
Yeah, they had 25
25
years.
Year.
Newbies.
Did Bandai not take the Bleach card game seriously? Did they not take
I've never heard of it.
The Gundam card game seriously?
So
like other IPs that have a long track record of success, like the Revenger Strike trading card game. Did they not take that seriously?
I've never played those games, but I will say this: like One Piece is like the gameplay is interesting and fun. Here's the thing with One Piece with Bandai, like on the Bandai topic. Everybody I know that plays any Bandai game has stopped playing that game and has gone over to play One Piece. And there's like
even the Teen Titans collectible card game.
There's this weird Bandai. There's this weird Bandai thing where like if you play a Bandai game, that's your thing. Like it's not like when you and I think of like I'm a Magic the Gathering player. Like for them, it's like, oh, I just play Bandai games. Like when one dies, I go to the next and I lose all my money. And they're just like weirdly completely okay with it. Like they're just like
it's so
like here's the one thing
this company has more dead trading card games than any other company has attempted trading card games. Like no, I did my research before this podcast. I looked up the Bandai games that are no longer being printed.
I'm going to give you a caveat to this though, Josh. I've carried a few of those games in the past. The gameplay for this seems a lot more unique, innovative. Innovative
is a great word.
Would they be the most innovative TCG, do you think, George?
Yeah, I mean, like, they have IP that they didn't create, so obviously, yes.
Okay.
And so, like, if this game's gonna continue to be big, it's gonna be on the back of quick games.
See, listen, I believe you, and I'm not saying One Piece won't make it. I'm not poo-pooing One Piece. It's just I don't want this to be an all pump One Piece session. The fact is, these 13 other games that Bandai is responsible for that are currently not in print, and the 3 that are but aren't meaningful, did not all die because all of the gameplay across all of them is just the only problem.
Sure,
it has to have been because if so, then I have no faith in Bandai ever because they had one problem and they couldn't solve it in the history of time.
I mean, like I somewhat agree with you, but here will be my one caveat to this. I think finding gameplay niche is very hard because there's just a ton of TCGs.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so, like, I think it takes time to figure out like where you're going to fit into the landscape. And like they found it out.
But like 13 tries.
I agree. Like, shout out to
I'm just saying that doesn't instill
game, I don't know.
Even if it makes it, that doesn't instill much confidence in me for the future. I'm not saying
fair.
I'm 100% with you, Josh. Like 100%. That is by far the biggest question mark on One Piece.
Sure. I want to get this out of the way. I think One Piece is different. I think it's changing the way Bandai does things from everything that I've read, and I like what it's doing. So I don't want to be out there, but it is worth noting, right? It's worth saying.
You don't want to be the Louis of Lorcana to Josh.
When I didn't like something for the longest time, and now I see that it is bigger than I thought it was, I'm willing to say it's far more successful than I ever imagined.
I have said that for Lorcana. Literally said that.
Comment section, do your job.
I never said that it was
a smashing
success. You told me that I had to say it was a smashing success.
I said massive.
Massive success. Yeah, that is your words. That is what I refuse to say. I have said literally exactly what you said. It surprised me at how successful it's been. I have literally said that on the podcast. So don't say that I have.
One Piece.
Now, let me go back to pumping what you were saying and agreeing with you that Bandai is the single biggest red mark for this game, which is a massive red mark. the creator, like the company that's creating the game. I think when I look at One Piece, though, I see a bigger issue for every other TCG. Like not the top two, like not Pokemon Magic, but like all the other indie TCGs are losing players and losing collectors to One Piece right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I have seen more people like who even like sorcery. Like I know like 2 people who were actively collecting sorcery who are selling sorcery cards right now because they're buying One Piece. Like that's a weird one to me. Like that those
there doesn't seem like to be a lot of crossover there. Yeah.
There's one Discord server that is the crossover, so maybe that's what it is.
Table TCG, get in the Discord.
But I
got your back, Louie.
I think like from what I'm hearing from like a competitive side too, like people are actively looking to compete in One Piece tournaments and travel for them and that kind of thing. And like I think that's gonna take players from other games. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah,
it's interesting.
It's an interesting space.
This one is for sure one of them though that's like this needs to be a top 4 game to be successful.
Why do you think that?
Because like
to protect his feelings about sorcery.
Like if it's the 6th biggest game, why do we care?
Because like I don't think that there is a 6th biggest game.
I think the 6th biggest game is eventually determined to like it's going to die.
Yeah,
if
like
you
it's
could
like
be in that
not
top
gonna
4,
be.
you could live forever and just exist.
Well,
So
like
I think
I think like One Piece has to be able to make like to I don't know. For me, it's like you have to be able to staff it. You have to be able to add prize support and create tournaments and that kind of stuff. And you can't do that if you're not actively selling the number of booster boxes. It's the same way I feel about Lorcana. It's hard to verbalize exactly what I feel, but like with Lorcana, it's a little bit even more because it's Disney IP. They have that kind of like at some point it's just like not worth it for Disney to do it if it's not a.
I mean, Disney
smashing
doesn't make
success.
the game; they license it.
They what? They're not making
It's
the
a-
game. To
it's a
license.
Yeah, so it's
license.
literally
But
no
it's not worth it
dream.
for them to add into their like to do the at the venues, the parks and stuff like that.
I don't think anybody would care if they.
Somebody else is producing all that product and presumably shipping it to them. They're just putting it on shelves and selling it and collecting money.
Like, listen, thank God for Bob Iger. He makes a lot of stuff.
It's the Bob Iger
That's fair.
throne that we're sitting on is. Listen, I'm
All right. We're
If
an
you bring back the divvy, I'm in your corner. This is very simple.
We're an hour and 45 minutes in, and we still have 2 more topics. So that's
No, we don't. MetaZoo, come back next week, baby.
if you're still here. All right.
God bless you. God bless you if you're still here.
This has been a good podcast.
It's been something.
Been a podcast.
All right. Rise of the Floodboard.
You guys fund our own things up. This is crazy.
This is the fun podcast. What do you want? Like, that's what we do.
I actually agree with
Just
that.
not on
We
board.
fund our friendship up.
Yeah,
We
that's
call
fair.
each other tomorrow and say you were terrible on the podcast.
No,
yesterday."
the podcast
you were
went through a
terrible on
dark.
the
The
podcast.
podcast went through a dark time where that was true. We're not there anymore, but it went through a dark
We
time.
might not be there for you, but George and I call each other almost every Thursday morning and start that way.
I'll be calling you tomorrow to talk about that.
Okay. I won't answer. All right.
That
So,
follows. Like today.
Lorcana.
I'll call you back. I'm going to put my kids down. No call back.
No call. My kid didn't go down. She didn't go to sleep.
I was driving all day, and I knew Josh had to work all day.
Yeah.
You screwed me.
Yeah.
I'm actively trying to keep my job
Yeah,
aggressively.
I know. Josh actually had to work today, and you screwed me, and I had to drive.
Okay.
I
Josh,
called like 15 other
This
people.
is your takeaway because this was your part of the topic. The sales increased as a result of something.
Lorcana?
Lorcana.
You didn't do the normal transition. I wasn't ready.
I think I did. I said
Maybe you
we
did.
We are now in.
My bad.
Magical.
My bad. So Lorcana's acting weird because we are seeing the one thing that I've wanted to see in TCGs and we haven't. It's when the price goes down to, well, crashes and tanks to still above MSRP. We normally see people completely stop buying because we normally see people speculating,
Yep.
collecting,
speculator game.
flipping, investing. Not with Lorcana, baby.
No, baby.
In December, as of December 12th, we've almost had more TCG player sales for Lorcana than we did through all of November. It's crazy.
Feed me.
It's
Feed me, Josh. Feed me.
Crazy.
Feed me.
I don't think you're saying that right based on your graphs. December we had 21. You said
Are you looking at the first chapter?
yeah. In December we had 2,100, and in November you had more. You just said from all the way through November.
Yeah, I'm saying this far in December, we're only 12 days into December.
Oh, crap.
We have
It's the beginning
almost
of December. I
surpassed
see what you're saying.
all of November sales. 12 days.
I forgot we were in the middle. My bad.
Like,
I thought Christmas was over.
December's not over, buddy. We got a long way to go.
God, this is the guy we come to for our TCG advice right
My
here.
bad. My bad.
Listen, market updates all the way back, baby.
What does that tell you, Josh? Like, what's your takeaway from that?
Well, it's genuine demand, right? It's people actually want the box, actually want the product. It's not about how much money the box is worth. It's not about the secondary market value. It's about the fact we can finally get our hands on cards and we're wanting to do. If December's not careful, it's going to sell more boxes on TCG Player than it did during the month of release, which is unheard of. I don't care what TCG you want to follow. No TCG does that, save for Lord of the Rings when TCG Player sells the bundle for way undercutting everybody else. That sale was actually kind of wild. That graph looks wonky now.
Really?
Yeah.
So I think I would add to that, like, it's not just it is organic demand, true demand. I agree with that, but it's also like previous demand. Like, I think a lot of the sales, a lot of the purchases right now are people who would have bought boxes in August at MSRP, but weren't willing or couldn't spend the extra money, the $400 on a box in August.
Yeah.
And so that to me is really good, because that says that people, and one of the things I said and I was worried about is, like, are people going to come back to the game in 4 or 5 months when reprints happen? And the answer was yes. Like, they came back to the game and they're buying boxes now, and they're excited for it. So that's really good for the game.
Yeah, seeing them stick around was something. You and I both had that same question, and that was just a super fair criticism. Like, hey, I can't get a box now. What's going to grab my attention next, where I don't pay attention to this TCG anymore? I don't even know about it. To see people legitimately either come back or still be waiting to care about it surprised me.
Admitting you were wrong in front of George is the absolute worst thing.
I'm saying nothing.
See, this is the whole reason for the data vault, because now I don't have to. I just be like, oh, it's the numbers. It's the numbers.
I support both of your positions.
No, I figured we'd see an increase in demand. I didn't think it would be this big.
You know what? The people who just listen to this podcast probably think George is like the nicest guy.
Because they don't see the looks.
Because they don't see George in his condescending,
being an ass.
buttholeness.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst. It's even worse in person. It's so much worse in person.
I've thankfully only spent 1 day, like 1 weekend of my life with George.
Watching
and a pizza date. And a pizza date.
And a pizza date. I forgot about that.
You make a comment, you just look.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And his fingers when he's Googling, he's like,
He does that in person too. When he asks you a question, he actually puts his fingers on your chin and goes like,
I've also seen the same thing happening in the store, by the way, where people who like couldn't get pre-cons and stuff like that have been coming back in and playing. And that's really good. Like, our community is pumping right now for Lorcana. It's really cool.
Demand is through the roof. Like,
It's got a long way to go. It's got to keep this up for sets. It's got to keep people interested. It's going to have the same problem all TCGs do in a digital age. How do I keep you interested in cardboard when everything else is right here at your fingertips? Like, it's going to be a challenge, but so far they're doing a good job.
They also have the release structure, like that they have 1 million releases every 5 days.
It's 4 releases
a year. They do 4 a year.
It is what people consider to be Magic's golden era.
Yeah.
This is
TCG's is that not what I said? Era. Is that not what I said? They have a lot of releases, which keeps people engaged and excited about the hobby.
I like that before, when you were all in on Magic, like this would have been like no releases, and now you love Sorcery so much, like 4 really out, like 4 a year. Holy moly!
I think 1 release for Sorcery is wild. I agree with George's take.
I was making fun of you. You had said that.
I agree with George's take that it's the wildest experiment in any TCG ever.
4 to 5 releases, 4 to 5 like really good releases. Seems like if I didn't have a YouTube channel where I made 13 videos a week in my basement like a creepy dude, it would be a good number.
All right, can I ask you guys something crazy? What is happening with the D100 Collector's Edition?
What? Thank you.
I don't understand why
don't
that
get it.
thing's not
I don't
stupid
get it.
expensive. Can I
Can I ask you guys?
why
can
are
I throw something out
troves?
there?
Why are troves so expensive?
Because they haven't been reprinted.
Can I throw something out there? Is this not a collector's game?
I don't know, man. But like the
this,
D100 thing,
Like this is not like that's the only way I can think about the D100 is like collectors aren't in this. People aren't collecting; they're playing.
That's not true.
And you know what that means?
Hmm.
It's ripe for collecting.
So I disagree with that statement, George, because I think people are collecting; they're not investing. Like I know people who do not collect sets for games. Like for Magic comes out, they only build decks, whatever, they buy singles. They are collecting all of the enchanted cards and they're trying to open them all. Like
I will say like, investors have been weirdly negative about Lorcana, which is like wild to me because it's like clearly like the third or fourth biggest game right now. like it is clear like it is like you can
Okay.
tell me a story where it's up there.
we
like
keep saying third is Yu-Gi-Oh! At what point does something transcend Yu-Gi-Oh?
I don't think we're there yet.
I do think it's about to sells more boxes in a Yu-Gi-Oh release. No,
Like,
it doesn't
that's
have
what
it.
I'd be.
I'd absolutely bet that.
I would bet my horse on that.
That might be an
Didn't it outsell
American
151?
perspective. Yu-Gi-Oh's more
In
global.
like dollar amounts.
I think at the time it was, yeah.
I think it outsold 151 in dollar amounts. Like this is like
Now let's make sure we clear things though. Like 151 is a Scarlet and Violet era set, so it's complete trash and
yeah, so
nobody
it's the
wants.
most modern Pokemon sets. I mean, like they are selling like they're a big two,
My TV's restarting.
but they've done it for 6 months, right? Like
Yeah.
in 20 years they need to be selling at the big two.
Imagine if Lorcana's around in 10 years, though, George.
I'm in. I mean, like they're clearly selling like they're a big boy.
It's
Like,
fun.
I do think like investors like are not into it. Like I find that very wild. I don't get it.
I mean, the King Koopa of investors essentially declared it a toxic asset, so that could have.
Yeah, and it's that stuff. Like, I guess like I honestly like. Are you watching?
Great. We're
Table?
demonetized.
I just started. It just started.
Great. We're demonetized.
I
Great.
didn't. My button's not working. It won't. I'm trying to.
Now we know what you watch on your off time. I like this. Thank you.
No, it's just up there. I've never used this Fire Stick ever for anything other than to do my little background.
Other than watching Sideways Tay-Tay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Nobody believes you. You know
It's
that,
all
right?
Tay-Tay.
I want to make crystal clear.
You have
Nobody
sound
believes
at the
you.
monitor.
I just turned it on and Tay-Tay came on. I don't
Listen.
watch it. I don't watch it. I don't watch it.
You better not be trying to steal Travis Kelsey's girl, man. That guy's big.
Guys, that is such a conspiracy theory. If you guys aren't following that on Twitter, you're missing out. It's good stuff.
I love that our conversation today, every time I mentioned any sentence, you're like, dude, there's a conspiracy theory about that.
It's crazy. I want you guys all to know. I don't believe any of them, but dang if I'm not invested in them in terms of like energy and time spent.
So like investors are like not in on Lorcana yet. And like I find that really wild.
For the Spotify listeners, Taylor Swift just started playing on the TV behind me.
Sideways.
So that's
Hey,
what you missed.
Hey, don't worry,
picture
Louis
of it.
doesn't watch it. It gets magically came on when he turned on his TV.
Yeah.
I got your back, Louis. I believe
All right.
you.
Yeah, so you don't think there's any collectors involved, or
I mean,
this is where I think you're just wrong. This is so distracting. This is where I think you're just wrong. I think like there's no. I think the investors aren't there. I think there are collectors who are set
you
collecting,
can convince me of that.
who are set
Like, you can
collecting,
convince me
and
of
who are like, they're experiencing this for the first time. They're whatever. So that's just my experience from the store, though.
I mean, you can convince me of that. I mean, like, what I don't think is like what we have not seen yet is somebody say, "I have a warehouse full of D100s."
Right.
Well,
Like, we haven't seen that kind of big whale come in and be like, "I'm buying out D100s."
All the D100s, right?
I
And
don't
I'm
think
not
you
artificially
can.
pop up the market.
And that might also
Um,
be because because unlike what you said, there's no special collector pack in there. Even though you were,
That was
hoping-
the wildest take of yours ever. You
I
were.
think you owe me a D100 case.
I
I only
think,
have cases.
well, I don't know about case. I thought it was a pack.
I think it's a D100 box. You owe me.
I think you might.
$40. I'll send it.
Speaking of boxes, if I owe anyone else, I'm selling box breaks on the channel for first chapter, baby.
But like, can I get a discount? If
Already
I
got
get a
two.
discount from it or
Already got
anything?
2 slots filled.
Nice.
Can I get a discount on opening or?
Yeah,
what's
if you're a
going on?
All right,
member,
everyone,
baby.
it's
Oh, if
2
you're a
hour
member.
Oh wait, so we're not allowed to pump my stuff, just yours, okay? GameGrove.gg.
It's the 2 hour mark. I think
Become a member of Josh's channel and get a discount on a sweet Lorcana box. He has guaranteed and enchanted in every box.
It's the one with tape too. It's it's secure. It's got
I don't
scotch
think you
tape
heard
on it.
that, which makes it so much better.
Yeah, scotch. It looks. I didn't believe it, guys. It looks like scotch tape. It legitimately looks like scotch tape.
It just keeps going.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching, listening, and hitting that subscribe button. Thanks for hitting the like button. Have yourself a great day. Remember to be kind to the people around you. May the Taylor Swift be with you.
And also with your secret embarrassment.
Is May the Taylor Swift be with you the name of the new podcast?
Yeah, I'm in.
A conspiracy theory podcast?
I'm in. Anything.
Swifties and Cardboard, a conspiracy theory podcast.
Have a great day.